Hello everyone and welcome to the next talk in this mini-series, An Introduction to Wildlife Recording. And this little series was prompted by Tees Valley Nature Partnership having a focus on wildlife recording this month. It's March 2021. I'm Fiona Greenwald. I'm the Engagement Officer for ERIC Northeast, and ERIC is the Environmental Records Information Centre, and it's a place where wildlife records for North are pooled together. So without further ado, because I've got a lot to fit in this talk, we'll get straight on to some screen sharing, and I'm going to stop my video so you can see the presentation. Okay, there we go. Right, talk 3. So in this talk, we're just going to have a quick recap on the last 2 talks, which are available still to view on our YouTube channel. We'll think about who to send your records to and how to send them in if you want to send them straight into ERIC, into us. We'll have a quick look at some popular routes, and there's a few other bits and bobs just to look at that we've not already covered in these talks. So the first talk focused on what makes a valid record, and for a record to be useful and valid, it needs 4 key pieces of information: what the species is, where it was seen, and when it was seen. In the second talk, we focused a bit more on what to record, who can do recording and why do recording. And the short answers to those are record everything, all living organisms. It doesn't matter if it's common and everyday, that's still important. It's great when we see rare and unusual things, but the common and everyday are just as important to record. Anybody can do recording, and you can invest as much or as little time in it as you want, from just looking out your window or going on sort of excursions and surveys. And why do recording? The main reason is it's a great way of supporting nature and helping wildlife and conservation, but also it's great for your well-being. Being outdoors, connected with nature, really lifts your mood, and it's a positive thing to do. So you've decided to do some wildlife recording, and you start to have a look at it, and it all seems a bit confusing. There are absolutely loads of schemes and surveys and groups that are doing recording. There's obviously ERIC, our database you could add into. So it can all seem a bit confusing. It's great to have all these opportunities to put records in, but you might be wondering, well, where's best to start? Who should I send my records to? If you're, even after this talk, if you're still struggling, give us a shout and we can help point you in the right direction. What we always say is put your records in where you feel they are doing what you want them to do. So it's just where they're going to be most useful for what you're interested in or what you care about the most. But do a little bit of research, and this talk hopefully is a good way of just getting a bit of the general picture and background to what the opportunities are. So I'm going to have a quick look at, if you want to put your records into our database, just how to sort of go about that, and then have a look at some recording apps as well. If you wanted to put your records into our database, if you go to our website, first of all, so this is the page you would come to, you do need an account to put your records in, and you can see there's a bit to log in there and create an account. And then that's the first part of or one of the parts of the wildlife 4 bits of information. Who's recording it? We've got that established. But it's worth, I'm just going to have a look at this first page. If we look at recording wildlife on our website, you would come to this page. And if you scroll down on that, then there's information there, just sort of a bit more of what I'm saying, just the general information about recording wildlife. So that's read at. But if you do want to submit some records, so you need to create an account, and then you would log in and you would come to this page. and it's usually got some, you know, sort of recent records, and that's basically what it looks like. And if you've got records to submit, records to submit, if you go to this record sort of tab at the top here, and when you click on it, you get a drop-down menu, enter a list of records or sort of a one-off, 1 or 2 casual records. I just clicked on the casual record sort of section to begin with, and you come to this sort of a page. And it's just simply a case of working through that and filling in the fields. So you can put the date in, add your name in here, again, it asks for that, and then just put in as much information as you can in these different fields. Now, throughout the form, you'll end up having those 4 bits: what you've seen, who you saw it, where it was seen, and when it was seen. So all that information will go in, but there is opportunities to put in extra information, you know, like numbers and things like that. So you can add that in if you want. And scrolling down the page, you come to a section like this, and that's where you can put the location in and add. You can do that by putting in the grid reference. You can put the name in and search for it on the map, or if you know where you are, you can just put the pin in actually on the map. I'm just going to go back to that slide. It's just a bit clearer here. If you've got lots of records to submit, you can use these little padlocks to kind of lock the field. So say I had loads of records for, I don't know, the 15th of February, I would put the date in here, and then I can lock that as the February while I fill in all my records. Once I get to the bottom of this form and submit it and get on to the next one, the next record, the date would automatically be filled in while I'm just putting that batch in. So it just helps to speed things up a little bit. And you can do that with the other sections as well. It's a good idea to pop your photos in. If I just go back here, there's actually a section just above the map where you can put your photos in. If you've got photos, that's great. It just strengthens the evidence, and it can help with identification and confirmation. So photos are really, if you can, add them in. Look around and explore about. You can search the records and see what's in your area, or look for particular species, and it's, you know, there's great information out there. But our database itself, the main database, has got 4 million records, but on our recording portal, all those records aren't there on the recording portal. There are about, I think it's about 60,000 records now. So you can't view the main database, but there's 60-odd thousand records there to search and have a look at, and just, you know, see whatever you're interested in, do a bit of exploring. Now, there are some sort of popular and well-used recording apps available, and you know, you might start off just putting things in the ERIC database. It's quite a good way of just getting into the swing of it and finding out, you know, it's fairly straightforward to use the database. There's an app called iRecord, which is used for a lot of surveys, and it can seem a little bit sort of to begin with, but it's got lots of good information. And just to say, information, wherever you record your information, I will talk a bit more about this later, most of it is shared between different organizations. So, you know, don't worry too much thinking, oh, if I put it in here, Eric won't be able to get it. A lot of the information goes into the biodiversity network, and then it's available for all these different organizations to get access to. But iRecord, as I say, is a popular one, and it's used a lot by surveys. This is the sort of main page on the website. Again, you'd have to log in and count. And it's also got lots of good support. Just scrolling down that first page, there is a button to click on, how to use iRecord, and that's got clear explanations and information about using it. And there's also, they've got a YouTube channel, and there's video that just takes you through it step by step. how to use iRecord. It's an amazing piece of technology, and if you really get into recording, you'll probably start using it. Another really good one for beginners, I think, is iNaturalist. Again, you have to log in, make an account, but it's one that you can, it's sort of point and shoot. It's very simple to use. When you take photos of your organism, it actually comes up with suggestions of the name. So even if you don't know things, it can help you identify them. It sort of works by a community verification, so other people can see your records and will agree with you or put in suggestions if they disagree. So it's a great collaborative community kind of app. And again, if you look on the front page of the website of iNaturalist, and you can see it says more. If you click on that, it leads you to the sort of help and video tutorials. And again, it just takes you step by step through how to use it. You can see there's also getting started. So there's lots of information out there to just take you through getting set up and using it. And it's quite straightforward, that one. I know a lot of these do seem confusing at first, but again, if you're getting stuck, get in touch with us and we would help you out. Sorry, I'll just go back. The iNaturalist app is the one that's used also for the City Nature Challenge, which is a big survey that goes on at the end of April, beginning of May. We'll be chatting more about that next week. So you might say, well, anybody can send in anything, but the records are checked. County recorders, who are the sort of experts for these counties, look at them. It is a slow process getting the records sort of verified and checked, but it does happen. And they'd be looking for things like, does that species exist in our region? Is that, it might be something, if you see something that would normally be hibernating, some bats out in the middle of winter, you might think twice about that, but it could be right. And the experts can sort of spot queries, if you like. And again, because we'd have that connection to the observer, they could go back and look at it. I remember I saw a swift in November, and my jaw dropped. What on earth is a swift doing around here in November? But on digging around and looking around a bit, it turned out, I think it was some sort of American swift that had sort of obviously been blown off course. But the information goes into the local community, and the experts would be able to examine that record and just double check it, basically. So the records are checked and they are reliable. Now, data sharing, again, is one of the more complicated aspects of the whole process, but I'll try and keep it just as simple as possible. An important thing is to only make one record. You might be doing, for example, a garden wildlife survey, and you might have spotted something in your garden, and you record it and send it into that garden wildlife survey. Well, don't also send it into ERIC, for example, because that would be making a duplicate record. The chances are, on any national surveys especially, we would be able to access that record anyway. So if you put it into different places, it's repetition and duplication of the same record. So just make your recording once in whatever survey or portal or scheme you're using. We encourage people, if you're putting your data in on our website, to join in with the data sharing agreement. And that just means you're allowing your data, because the data belongs to you, you're allowing your data to be used for wildlife conservation purposes. And we would encourage you to do that, because sharing data helps wildlife. It's all adding into the bigger picture. If someone's got a notebook full of observations in their drawer of their dressing table, it's not actually doing a lot of good there. But when these databases, then scientists and researchers can look at it, conservationists can target their efforts, and it's much more useful when it's shared. And we stick to the principles of the National Biodiversity Network's data exchange sort of procedures. And if you really want to find out more, there is on our website, you can look at the data sharing and access policy. And again, any questions, just get in touch with us and we would be able to answer your questions. And a few bits and bobs just to tie up at the end here. Sensitive species, rare are, declining species. Their locations are blurred on the portal, so not they can't be pinpointed, so they're kept safe that way. The sort of computer programs can pick up those listings and they automatically get blurred. So you don't need to worry if you see something that you're concerned about. That information isn't made public, but it's there in the database and can be accessed by experts who need to see it. All of our information is on a part of a server, I think, on Newcastle Council. So it's got secure processes in place and it's backed up daily. It's 4 million records. That would be a lot of information to use. So that's something that we're quite hot on. And again, if you're getting started, if you can hopefully this year get some sort of community events and workshops, BioBlitzes, something like that, there are people there who'll be used to doing recording, using these different apps, and they would be able to teach you and just guide you through if you were getting stuck. So it's a good way of getting started, looking for some sort of local event to join in with and support your own local wildlife. And this is the last slide, basically the first slide of the next talk. We're going to have a little think about some local surveys going on that we can perhaps encourage you to join in with and help you get started. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Let me just stop sharing and I'll get the video back on. And just say thanks for joining in this week. See you next week. Again, any questions, just pop them in the comments below, get in touch with us, and we'll hopefully get you on your way doing some wildlife recording. Thanks again.